How is everyone? Great to have you join us. For those I haven't met yet, my name is Dinesh De Silva. I'm the founder and CEO of netStripes. I know there are quite a few of you who are our netStripes customers. Big welcome to you. A lot of you have attended our webinars before. Big welcome. But I know there are quite a few people who've never attended any of our webinars before. You are new here. A huge welcome to you. This is a community of over 15,000 business owners who are digital and innovation focused, but more importantly, as entrepreneurs, they're focused on growing their businesses. So a big welcome to everyone. Cybersecurity is such an important issue in everyone's everyday life now. It's not just for business owners. So I have a lot to cover today, so let's get started. By the way, I want this to be an interactive seminar, a webinar, mind you. So go and introduce yourself on the chat. Go to the chat and tell us your name of your business, and where you're from. Not just for us, for everybody who is there, so that you can collaborate. You never know whether you meet partners that you can collaborate with who are across the country or across the ditch, because we always have people from New Zealand as well. So let me first share my screen. And please tell me, please put your hand up as you can see my screen so that I know. And as I see a good lot of hands going up, then I will start, because I want to make sure everybody can see my screen. So let's have a quick show of hands, and that way I know you're comfortable with using the technology as well. Fabulous. Thank you for doing that. I've introduced myself already, so you know who I am. This webinar is a special webinar dedicated for FBAA members. So a big shout out to your association. We work with multiple industry associations. I can tell you, and I think I've said this before, FBAA is one of the most efficient associations we work with. By the way, those of you who read the FBAA magazine, this article on cybersecurity for mid-sized financial businesses was published in the October 21 issue. I have Thor, one of our digital associates, assisting me. He will share the link with you. So if you want to have a quick squeeze at that, not now, later on, please read that. It's a very short article and it'll give you a good summary. So what's the big deal about cybersecurity? People ask me. Did you know that every 8 minutes, there's a cyber security incident in our country? Think about it. Now, this was every 10 minutes, just about a year ago. Okay, so it is getting more and more frequent. There are 30,000 websites that are hacked every day. Imagine that. This is across the world. 30,000 websites are being hacked every day. Not just big business, every type of business. You might ask, I run a small business, I run a mid-sized business. Why would anybody want to hack my website? But believe me, the hackers do not discriminate. So whose job is cybersecurity? I'd like you to go to the chat. Go to the chat and tell me, whose job is cybersecurity? In your company, in your business, whose job do you think is cybersecurity? The security of the data, the security of your brand, the reputation, all that is dependent on cybersecurity. Whose job is it? I'd like you to go to the chat, and I wanted many of you to share that. Bruce says it's my responsibility as the owner of the business. Whoever is using the computer at the time, of course. My own, Robbie says my own, I believe you're the business owner. What do the others think? Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, David. Thank you, Bruce. What do the others think? Whose responsibility is cybersecurity? Whose job is it? Yes, Shauna says it's everyone's responsibility. Okay, but I can tell you, if you are a larger business, as the CEO or the board of directors, it is your job. If you're a small business, if you're the business owner, it is your job. If you're the chairman of a larger corporation, it is your job. So the responsibility lies right at the top. You can't delegate. Of course, you can delegate responsibility, but the accountability, the absolute responsibility lies at the top. So we can't just say, that happened, it's not my responsibility, I don't know, because we have to understand this. Let's go and see why. We'll dig deeper. By the way, I have a lot to cover today, and there's a lot of complexity when it comes to cybersecurity. Little errors, little omissions are all that is required for a hacker to get through. And I will show you how they're doing. So I'll finish this in about 40 minutes time. I'd love 100% of your attention. Why? Because this is a vital topic, and that's the reason you're here. I know we have multitasking. Multitasking, I can tell you, as being very experienced in working large corporates at executive level and running startup businesses as we're doing now. Multitasking is not for business owners. You might be laughing at me. Yes, there's not a blog that was written by Lake today. It's on our website that was published today, showing how to manage stress for business owners. So have a read of that as well. Okay, Thor, you might want to share that blog as well. And I believe Lake is on this call. So Lake and I combined to write these articles. This is what we are going to cover today. Have a quick squeeze. I'm going to grab a quick glass of water. You can read it way faster than I will. For those who are new to netStripes, we're known to have the most effective system for small and medium-sized businesses to transition from your traditional ways of doing business to becoming a digitally successful business. And a lot of people have tried this and failed over many years because business owners have invested tens of thousands of dollars in websites and SEO and digital marketing and having not got results. It's very frustrating, and we know that, and that's why this system has been created. And our vision has been, from the time we started, was to empower 1 million businesses to accelerate your growth using digital and innovation. Because we know when you grow, you create millions of jobs across the world. And digital, as you know, is about catching the wave, right? Because once you catch the wave, your growth is accelerated, as you can see, as a surfer. Fortunately for us, this vision is shared by multiple industry associations, business chambers, and state governments. So we are delighted to have the FBAA as one of our key partners in taking this vision forward. This system also works with multiple industries. Whichever industry you're from, the system works, and there are so many people who use it to success. All right. So what is a cyber crisis? We talk about cybersecurity. Let's try to understand this. What is a cyber crisis? So it could be as simple as your website has got hacked. It's not as simple as, is it? Sadly, you don't have any backups. and you have lost everything. This is a huge issue if you don't have backups and you have got hacked, because the reputation damage is huge. There was an event company that I met, an event photographer, mind you. Their whole business is about taking event photography, one of the biggest event photographers in Sydney. Their website got hacked. They did not have backups. Small business, mind you. Small business, mind you. Husband and wife business, and they lost all the photos. Imagine that. For a photography business, they lost all the photos because everything they kept online, because it's digital these days, isn't it? So that is huge. But think about, some companies spend months, years doing their website. They don't have a backup, and you lose everything. How long does it take to get back up? So this is a problem. The other is that your computers have been hacked. You're in utter disbelief because all your data has been lost. And this data belongs to who? Your customers. Salary data, all types of confidential data has been hacked. And Robbie, I've seen you asking a question. If you can go to the Q&A and ask that question, I will answer them all, because right during this session, I miss a lot of those questions. So I will answer every one of those questions. The answer to your question is it's not all that who does it. And most cases, it's not done. Your computers have been hacked. You're in utter disbelief. This has happened recently to a legal technology services company, one of the best in the country. And the reputation risk for them was unthinkable. As business owners, imagine having to contend with that. Your bank accounts are hacked. For the first time in your life, you don't have a penny left. This is not fictitious. Somebody that we know, working for one of the largest banks in this country, in one of the most powerful positions in that organization, was hacked and lost several $100,000 of that person's money. I nearly said the gender of that person's money, and the money that belonged to some of her children. Oh, damn, it doesn't matter. Imagine that. Imagine that. And when does it happen? In your weakest moments, when you're busiest. And these people are smart people, really cyber-aware people. Still, you can lose. So that's a cyber crisis. So what are the impacts? Business downtime is a huge impact, a huge impact. Financial loss, brand and reputation damage. Each day of a downtime can be fatal for some businesses, can't they? But the reputation risk is huge. You lose face, people lose trust in you, your customers lose trust, and you look unprofessional. That's the biggest issue. You worked for 20, 30 years, 10, 15 years to develop your reputation. It's gone in a flash. And hackers have increased during COVID because everybody is working from home and everybody has to be digital. They understand this. In March 2020, it peaked, as you can see in that graph, because people were on the web, but they were also hungry for news on COVID. And it was those COVID-related news items that they hacked you through. They typically focus on what you worry about. and they always get their timing right. Unbelievable. You, I'm sure, would have got text messages that look like that. This was a text message that I got. And you think it's a DHL order or an Australia Post order? How many text messages do you get? Or from Amazon? And in your weakest time, when you're expecting something, is when they strike. When you have an issue with the bank and you're expecting a telephone call, or your home loan has been attended to, or something like that is happening, and you're expecting the bank to call, that's when they strike. I'm sure you would have got emails like this. So let's go and see some of these hunting methods. So typically attackers, and they're not individual attackers now. Some of these attackers there are sweatshops of attackers in Eastern Europe and in lots of other countries. Think about that. Not just a teenager. There are teenagers in a hoodie who has nothing else to do. I'm sure there are so many of them, but there are commercialized game hunters as well. So what do? They keep trying to establish a foothold in our businesses or within ourselves. And they will try multiple methods, hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of methods to establish a foothold somewhere. And for some luck, as soon as they establish a presence, they get through. What do? They go and establish themselves a little while. They wait quietly. We don't know they're there. And while they're there, they're escalating their privileges. They've checked us out. They've seen the passwords we enter to the bank, the passwords we enter to get into your email, the passwords you enter to get into every single software that you use, every single website we use. And that's how they escalate privileges. Once they've done that, they've spread through the network. Not only your network, they will get to your customers, they'll get to your friends. I had I'm sure that person could be at this webinar, a member of the FBAA, who we know very well, sent me a LinkedIn request with a document to open through LinkedIn. A document in LinkedIn as a message saying, hey, Dinesh, here is a mutually beneficial opportunity. Check this document out. I clicked on the document and he's given me a password 2022. I put that password because it came from this person I know extremely well. He was a member of the FBAA. I spoke to him last week. And then it asked me to enter my Microsoft, all the details for Microsoft. Then I realized there was something fishy. I contacted him and he said that his LinkedIn was hacked. Can you see? That's how it happens. And once that happens, they activate the ransomware and they encrypt files and demand payment. I think you're familiar with that part. And they're hiding in there, as you can see. And this is big business. There was a Bitcoin wallet of a hacker that was found. And look at the amount of Bitcoin or the value of the Bitcoin that is there. Mind you, that Bitcoin value must have gone down considering the Bitcoin price is plummeting recently. So the common types of cyber attacks are phishing. I'm sure you're acutely aware of that. Malware, ransomware, denial of service, or DDoS attacks. So let's go through each one of them. Phishing is like we went through earlier, spam or email message, steals information through links, credit card details, usernames, you know this stuff. Mimic sender as a credible source, just like the example I said your bank, your employer, colleagues, somebody you met the other day, like I had. Fortunately, I didn't have to enter all those details. Malware, malicious software that comes through viruses and Trojans and spyware and adware. Got to be really careful. Enters your device through downloads and corrupted software, and mainly through outdated software, especially if you have a website and you don't have on a mobile phone. A lot of the time on a mobile phone, we update our software. On a desktop or a laptop, you update your software. How often does your website software gets updated? And that's where they come from. Ransomware. Hackers gain control of your assets, demand payment for return. So what we need to know is to never pay. And they will guarantee your data back, but they will never give it to you. Somebody I know very well lost several $100,000 because they paid on a ransomware attack. Imagine that. He's a business owner, very successful business, highly reputed business. But imagine the loss of data, the data breaches. He operates in an industry that's where security is fundamental to everything. Imagine that. So what's denial of service or DOS or DDoS attacks? It's a repeated attack on websites or the network, and just so that it's just multiple attacks on websites until it just comes down because it has just too much data to handle. And that's a very common, and DDoS attacks are common, not just on business websites or business on networks and government, banks. These are the biggest cybersecurity threats a nation has to handle. The distributed denial of service attacks can even be more powerful, okay? So that's something you've got to consider. Let's go through each of them. Most importantly, as a business owner running a SME type of business, small and medium-sized business, what we have to worry about is this. So we have to make sure that we keep all the software of our devices in your business updated. So here's simple steps everybody can do. So if you have 5 people working, not just on one device, every device, we got to keep all the software updated. Everything is backed up. Everything is backed up. So if you're using cloud-based software, that can really help you a lot. But everything has to be backed up. So many people lose the contents of your data when their laptop breaks or desktop breaks. That should be a thing of the past, because there's so much cloud-based software to secure that now. Develop a process for cybersecurity. We'll go through that process a bit later. Know the common types of cyber attacks. We went through that a little while ago. The good part is the government, the federal government, realized cybersecurity was an important aspect of small business, and there's $1 billion given in the last budget so that business owners like you can get their cybersecurity looked at. Now, I know for a fact you don't have to spend a lot of money, but the best part is that if you spend $100, you get a tax deduction of $120 for every $100 spent. And the idea was that there were lots of digital haves and digital have-nots, and especially the digital have-nots are the people really getting messed up by cybersecurity, but it's not limited to them. Everybody is getting hacked. And this is about supporting technology adoption securely. Okay, so it's important for us to make sure we know this stuff. And in this financial year that's ending on the 30th of June in a couple of weeks time, and in the next financial year, we can claim 100,000 each year up to. I know you don't have to spend that money, but if you have tax deductions and you want to get some stuff sorted, this is the time to act. Depending on your tax liability, there are some things you can do that will help your business as well. For SMEs with a revenue up to 50 million. So hopefully, I think everybody here would fall into that category. What can you use it for? As I said, cybersecurity, definitely, but you can also use it to get your digital strategy done or your business strategy done. The strategy is fundamental to success in this digital era. You can get your websites done. Again, if your websites are old and the data, the software is not updated, make sure you get them checked. And every aspect of your digital marketing can be done as well. Digital skills development, because skills are such an important part of cybersecurity and digital as well. So that's why the government is doing this. So again, any subscription payment type of plans you do are covered in this scheme. I ran a webinar on this last week for those who were there. I'm sure you would have got a lot of that. Why are they giving it? Why is the government motivated for this? Because 86% of the SME owners were not doing digital that well. They, despite investment, most businesses weren't getting results, tangible results from digital. So you need to get your digital house in order. There's a blog that has been written on the netStripes website. Thor will share this soon, no doubt. Please go and have a quick squiz at that. All right, so let's look at website security. This is a really important aspect. The first point is back up your website. I think Robbie had asked, most web hosting companies have automatic backups available? I can tell you some do, not all do, and most of them will say you have to sign up for them. And if you have signed up for them, that's good. But if you haven't signed up, you can lose everything. I can tell you, we had this problem. Yes, about 5 years ago. We were told that they back it up, but they hadn't backed it up. Okay, so and when we went back and said, oh yeah, we had that facility 2 years ago, 6 months ago. Now you have to pay for it. You haven't paid for it. And they didn't inform us. Apparently they sent us an email, but it wasn't backed up. Fortunately, we had a backup somewhere else. We were able to restore from that, but we did lose a lot of data nevertheless. So backing up your website shouldn't be that difficult, okay? Most importantly, website software. Your website is a collection of software and different types of software, and some of them are called plugins and there are patches, etc. And what happens with this software is regularly, if it's just to give you an example, most of the websites today are developed on a WordPress platform. WordPress will come up with an update like it happened just recently. And if you didn't know that update happened, because you're running your business, how are you meant to even know that WordPress had an update? Hackers know this stuff. Hackers will come in, get through the old software, because you're using the old version, get through that. And that's when a cyber security attack happens. So why do software companies, and in this case WordPress, come up with a patch, come up with an update? Why does Apple come up with an update? Because hackers have exploited their software. They've found ways of getting in to software. Microsoft, anyone. The hackers have found ways of getting in. And as a result of that, they've come up with an update. So if we are not aware of that update and we don't do it, that's something that is a situational threat. You got to make sure that you have a secure hosting provider. A lot of people, your websites, you got to make sure you're dealing with a reliable, reputable hosting company. In Australia, there are a number of dedicated hosting providers. Get to know who they are and make sure your website is hosted by one of those reputed companies. Work with a company whose main business is website hosting. You've heard of NetRegistry. Now they're owned by Melbourne IT, and people like that. By the way, we don't get any commissions. This is not an advertisement, we work with AWS, Amazon Web Services. So there are so many others that you need to do your own research. If you ask for advice, we will give you. But this is not about telling you where to go. Make sure you're not dealing with some unknown provider who is not going to be accountable, don't have the resource to be accountable, don't have the resource to have the right infrastructure in place to secure you. Make sure you add HTTPS onto your website and you have an SSL certificate. By now, I think most of you know about this and you're equipped with that. All right, so these are simple to do, but as business owners, unfortunately, you don't have the time to do that because they're not simple to do. They're fairly technical, but they also have to be done consistently. And I can share with you how we help business owners. Let's go to, this is our website, by the way, netStripes. You go to, where will you find it? There you go. So you go to cybersecurity and tech support. We have a complete plan where you can, look, you don't have to come to us, but you have a read of this. It shows you how you need to protect it. What is important? Get your mandatory software updates done. Innovation, improvements to your website, regular improvements to your website is important. And that helps with SEO and Google and your business as well. And they're not expensive to do. In this case, it's $4.99 for 6 months just to make sure your backups are done. And there's some, a basic essential for your business, one-time backup. So go and have a look at that. I'm not here trying to sell those plans, but you can see that it is something that is cost-effective to do and must be done. All the prices are there as well. By the way, there's another webinar on utilizing those tax incentives, and that will do a deep dive on how best to use those tax incentives. And no doubt, Thor will share where you can log into this. This is on our website because we're doing this with Outsource Financial. You may know of them, and so you can log on to that link. Thor will share soon. There you go. So let's go and try to understand how to prevent cyber attacks. Create a defined process for cybersecurity in your business. So that's the first part. Create a cyber-aware culture. Everybody must know about cybersecurity. So you got to have a meeting. We have what's called a risk management meeting at netStripes. It is run weekly. I don't attend that risk management meeting weekly, but I do attend it at least once a month. But I see the notes of the risk management meeting every week. And I look into it. I make it my business to know what's happening in there. And cybersecurity is an important part of the risk management meeting. But we do other stuff as well, because that's how SME organizations must operate. So again, I'll come to this a bit later. So what's the defined process for cybersecurity? So let's go through this. Create a list of vital devices and software and other data assets of your business. So this is very important. It's as simple as creating a list though. Okay, so what are the devices that are used by people, right? Don't miss any device. That's where they come from. Okay, so if you have two telephones and only one of those phones are used occasionally, right? That's where they'll come from, because that software is not updated. Okay. If you're using some software system that you use occasionally, again, it's the same, because that's where they'll come from, because that software is on your systems. Okay, so you might not be using it regularly, but they'll use that as a pivot into your organization. And any types of data assets that you have, what are they? How do we secure them? So again, it's about having regular staff training, and how do we advise them, give them the right knowledge and guidance. Have a regime for regular backups of all devices and data, not just your website, all devices and data. Do you have cloud-based backups that happen automatically? Because if you're using G Drive, Google Drive, OneDrive, if you're using Dropbox, then your data is secure, because these organizations will make sure that your data is secure. However, can you depend only on OneDrive? Maybe not, because what happens if something happens to OneDrive one day? So do we need a backup of that in Google Drive or Dropbox? So these are the considerations you need to have. Which type of data requires encryption? Now, this probably needs some more expertise. So you might need to get some advice depending on the software and the data assets you hold. This is simple, but lots of people don't do this. Make sure during your training sessions and advisory that every device has up-to-date antivirus and spyware and spamware. Use multi-factor authentication on devices. You know this stuff. I'm sure a lot of you are very, very savvy with that. Just remember though, we are savvy, but we are not, we are always vulnerable. Cybersecurity audits, easy to do periodically. Okay, so how often would you do a cybersecurity audit? Is it monthly? Is it quarterly? Is it biannually? So you got to make that decision, and we need to do that. And you might think, oh, that's for big business. No, it's not for big business only, because whose job is cybersecurity? It is our job. So you've got to put it in your calendar and make sure it's done. Securely store your access and passwords. This is tough, right? But there are vaults you can use to do that. Regular updates of all software patches and plugins. Especially, I'm sure a lot of that happens on your phones and on your laptops and your desktops automatically, because Microsoft and Apple and all these guys, Android, will make sure you have them updated. But on our websites is where a lot of you fail to do. So make sure your software is updated. We had a question earlier on by Robbie, who said, isn't that the business of the web hosting company? They might take a backup, but it's not their responsibility. They will not do any software updates for you. Back up your website. I think I've said that so many times, right? Website software updates, I've said that so many times as well. This is where they come from. What action needs to be taken if you are attacked? Firstly, stop further infection. Take action to stop further infection, report the incidents, recover as much data as possible, get external help. Get external help, call out for help, and keep your composure. Don't panic, okay? It's very easy to panic, and that's when it gets worse. So if you don't know what to do, get some help, and that's where you start. We had recently a client who got hacked, and these hackers were so smart. They didn't only hack their website, and I think this, we believe it's a competitor who did this for them, a fairly large competitor, mind you, hacked the website, but also didn't only hack the website, hacked the SEO part of, from a Google perspective. So when you search for that business, what happened was that business website would come up and that link would come up. And when you clicked on it, it went into some site that had Japanese language. So that's a huge problem, especially if you're doing digital marketing or advertising, you're dependent on your website, and like most businesses are, and you know, if you're a good business, you'll be getting leads coming from your website. A lot of people, but I know 86% of the websites of SMEs don't deliver a result. So if you fall into that 86%, take some action to fix that as well. You can recover the data again from backups, etc. Keep your composure, as we discussed. Where do you report the incidents to? Okay, so here are the three organizations. CERT is a global organization, but this is CERT Australia, Computer Emergency Response Team. These guys are across the globe. They work together. They are highly credible people. They know everything. So then the Australian Cybercrime Online Reporting Network, again, report all incidences to them. And Office of the Australian Government, Australian Information Commissioner, right? But these are for larger businesses that have revenues over 3 million. So there you go. So depending on your business, you can report to any one of them. Okay, but guys, don't wait till something happens. This is the end of the financial year is coming. The government has brought in this scheme. Use that scheme to be cyber aware. You know, we can come into a webinar like this. The information is great, but take the right action. And it's not expensive to act, okay? You get tax deductions, as I said, and the government wants to support the right technology to be adopted. I'll show you something that is pretty smart. We believe it's smart, and because the idea is if you can get your cybersecurity done while you get your digital marketing done, then that's smart, with not much further expense. So this is the netStripes website. Again, under services, you will find social media marketing. So if you click on that, you come to that page, which but it looks like this as you come in. So it says social media marketing and support. Okay, so automate your marketing, save valuable time and money with a complete plan created and managed by our experts. Why? So that you can go and run your business without worrying about what you have to go to do to post on social media or to run a Google Ads campaign that anyway doesn't deliver you a result or whatever, and go and do your backups and software updates, etc. Everything is done for you here. So it's like automating your marketing. and all you qualify for that tax benefit as which we spoke. But most importantly, it's about elevating your brand and business. But also, as you saw, it protects your brand and reputation if you do this stuff right. So this program looks after your Facebook and Instagram advertising, looks after your Google Ads campaign. It does what's called retarget advertising, which is a very innovative type of advertising that every SME business should do, but very few do. And this can make you look like a big brand when you operate with companies. It delivers the cybersecurity as part of that plan, okay? You have experts who work with you and giving you guidance, but most importantly, you get analytics and reporting of your cybersecurity and everything else. So that's very powerful, as you can imagine. You can have a read of this. It includes all the professional design of ads, professional ad setup, the campaign management. Campaign management means because the algorithms of all of Facebook and Instagram and Google changes so fast and so much, no small business owner can keep up with it. So we have teams that are there looking at the data for each of our customers and reviewing and improving based on these changes daily, mind you, okay? And so and this includes the cost of the Facebook ads and the Instagram ads, and of course the Google search ads, display ads, shopping ads, video ads, all that, and this includes the ad cost as well. Retarget advertising is those ads when somebody comes to your website and they leave and say they go to Sydney Morning Herald or news.com or Australian Financial Review, they'll see your ad in there. So this, when you buy a Qantas, you go to buy a Qantas air ticket, you see the Qantas ad following you. This is that follow me advertising, but as an SME, you can do it too. Then the analytics and reporting, I won't go into that, but the cybersecurity. Weekly backup of website. This is valuable. 3 hours of tech support monthly. So any issue or any improvement on your website, software and plugin updates. Best is secure 3 backups at any given time. Okay. So this is an excellent risk management tool. And of course, expert guidance. If you have any issues, all you have to do is to talk to the team and they'll sort it out for you. And this whole package, including the cost of the advertising, is $375 a week to $700 a week. So depending on your budget, if you're running a business, right? So if any of you win one customer per quarter through all that cost will be covered. So obviously you should be winning a lot more than that, but if one customer per quarter will cover that cost, and that's a real professional plan that covers everything. Okay, so that's some awareness for you. I shared with you, if you only wanted cybersecurity, I shared those plans as well, but I think doing it as part of your overall digital marketing is a smarter way of handling it. And you get the tax benefits, right? So you might as well do it that way. Guys, if you want to know more information, talk to our team. Talk to Thor, by the way. Thor is the best person he's the best conduit to get to any one of the netStripes experts. If you need to have a meeting with me, of course, I meet up to 5, I do 5 one-on-one sessions for FPAA members each month. Thor can organize that. But we have others who you can talk to as well. By the way, netStripes, we have a bit of time. I might just say, from a digital transformation perspective, if you want to get results, a lot of people what you do is you go and get a website, and then you go and do Google ads or Facebook ads, or you do just Facebook or Instagram, and you're not getting results. Some of you are spending tens of thousands of dollars per annum and not getting results. There's a reason for that, because strategy and knowledge is fundamental. to success online. So the netStripes transformation process starts with knowledge and strategy. Okay, and these don't take a lot of time because we understand business owners the time for, and the strategy process is one of the best you can ever get. This is not what we tell, this is what people like you tell us. People on this call will tell you. Check on Google, on the reviews, you'll find out. So by the way, I'm just articulating what we've heard. And then we have world-class brand designers to make sure your brand completely stands apart from your competition. It has to be way better than your competition to win, right? And then based on that, only then you must build your website, because your online branding must deliver a strong message so that when somebody sees you online on social media or an ad or on a website, bang, they get that message, or on a flyer, mind you, right? And until you get all that done, you should not, by the way, oops, let me go back. Until you get your online branding done so that somebody sees you online on any platform, bang, they get that trust that they should not, you should not build a website. Okay, so you only build a website until you get your strategy right, your branding right, and your messaging right. Only then you build a website. The mistake most of business owners do is you build your website first. So some people spend $10,000 to build your website. And I'm telling you, FBAA members have come and told us that, but are not getting results because the strategy is not right. Okay, so once you get this stuff right, then only you start promoting. Until you get that stuff done, don't spend $1 advertising. And we always look into the detail there, and then we look at the data, right? And by the way, this promotion is the Google ads, the Facebook ads, the SEO, social media, all that has to be looked into. And then you look at the data, you review and improve based on that data. So it's all data-driven decision making. Because digital is about ones and zeros. You can't, it's not what you think or what I think or what somebody else thinks. The data is what tells us what we need to do. But you need to know how to read the data and to make decisions. You know, that is the expertise. It's like a doctor looking at an ECG can tell us, you know, what the story is, because us looking at an ECG or just your GP looking at the ECG is not going to reveal. You might think the GP knows a lot. They do, but I can tell you my dad showed his ECG to his doctor, and the doctor said, "Oh, you're pretty good, nothing's wrong." He still had some chest pain, went to the same day, mind you, to the heart specialist, and he looked at the ECG and said, "Oh my goodness, the reason you're having pain is because of this, this, and this," which the GP had no idea of. So that's why you need to have expert guidance to make sure you look at the data and review and improve and make the right strategy and take the right action. All right, guys, if you need to meet any, have a one-on-one session with me to discuss any of this stuff, please let Thorne know. You can email that number, and we'll be delighted to help you with it's cybersecurity or any aspect of digital, because that's what we do with the FBAA. If you need to get knowledge because you're a DIY type of a person, you want to do everything on your own, we've created a course. It's called the Ultimate Digital Bootcamp, or Futurize Foundation, which is the foundation you need to futurize your business. By the way, it's because of COVID, it's a 6-hour course, by the way. It's a 2-day digital bootcamp. We've had over 3,000 people attend and love this across the country. And it's online now. It's worth over $1,096, but because of COVID, we put the price at $596. But FBAA members get it at $298. Okay, that's because of your organization. Plus, you get 6 CPD points. So if you're a DIY type of person, you want, or you're short of points, this is a fantastic course to do. It'll give you all the knowledge and confidence you need to run a business in this digital world. Okay. So what does it cover? It covers it's got 4 modules, right? The online advertising tips and tricks is number 4. Successful innovation, if you want to innovate, about customer strategy, about reinventing your business for troubled times, in times of inflation, times of interest rate hikes. How do you run the business in these times? How do you run a business during uncertainty? So these are the things that we have to think about. How do you build a website? What are the elements of a website that you need to nail? All that is in there, okay? All right, it's been an absolute pleasure having you join us today. netStripes' vision has been to empower a million businesses across the country, because we know if we can do that, we'll have that you guys will create millions of jobs across the world, and that has been our vision from the day we started. However, we do this one business at a time, but netStripes have been working with the federal government, multiple state governments to bring incentives to business owners like you. And that federal government incentive that came about in the last budget didn't happen like that. Business, we have been talking to the federal government, sharing our research and asked since 2015 to make this happen. And by the way, if you go to the About Us section on our website, there's the story of how we worked with multiple governments to bring in multiple incentives. But by the way, I'm not saying that only we did this. There are so many others, business chambers and all types of people who have been working with that as well. All right. Good to have you join us. If you have any questions, go to the Q&A and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you very much for your joining us today. It is an absolute delight to have you.